Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Stand in line for your fix. DeMarcus and Marcus in the mix, serving you yet another round of fish and grits. Last day of the month, man. This month went by pretty quick, don't you think?
Man, it seemed like as we get older, we go to work, we
Oh,
have starting to develop lives, relationship, kids. Time just seemed to
routines.
go by too quick for me.
Yeah, like life is
It
just so
was just
routine.
Wednesday.
I know, right? Last
I mean,
week,
like, dang, the weekend is about to be here already.
yeah, it's just a couple days away, man. Well, man, let's jump right into the freshly squeezed news of the day. Ben Affleck said he would not be directing Batman no longer. He's still gonna stay on the screen as the actor. He's still gonna be the main character. But it's kind of off me to blame him. I mean, it's a lot of stress because one, you're directing the entire film and you're starring in the film. So I can see him. I can understand why he want to take a back seat. Just like, all right, let me take a little bit off my plate because he's not just an actor; he's also a human. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you probably disagree with it. I'm sure you're a little bit upset because he just started the franchise or being Batman last year, and it seemed like if you wasn't going to be fully involved, then you should never took that role.
Yeah, the thing about it is I was going forward. So from the DC movies going forward, it's Superman and the Superman versus Batman movie. Then they have the Wonder Woman, Flash, movies like
Mm,
that coming out. So they started on little universe like Marvel has their movie universe. But the
mhm.
thing that's crazy about it is so good because there was a lot of controversy with Man of Steel. I
Yeah,
don't know if you've seen that or not. Yeah, it was all that
yeah, I did.
controversy of people saying Superman killing, and then you got Batman's Superman. It was a lot of the fans and because a lot of people thought there was too much. Batman was too over the top. I want to say, and then
That's true.
Superman was born.
Yeah,
So going into this next the movie, everybody thought the standout of Batman versus Superman was Batman. Ben Affleck, he really did. He really embodied the character of Batman. This movie, the Batman that he was supposed to direct, everybody knew, Ben Affleck from Argo, from The Town, Live
mhm.
by Night. He directs a great
Yeah,
films. So
Gone
you
Girl.
you know the bar was set pretty high, and then he's trying to separate from what Christopher Nolan has done with his Batman trilogy. So that's a lot of pressure, as you said, is on Ben Affleck. But the rumor is that script for the movie and him and the producer, I mean him as a producer and as director, he was getting a lot of flack from the studio and to make the movie that he didn't feel was right by what he seen with the script. So
Mhm.
I think he left the role honestly, and really starting to become a problem for DC movies because I'm really plugged into the movie scene, trying to know everything I can about them.
Right.
And DC is trying to compete with Marvel, which is off to a amazing start, and they're trying
Mhm.
to catch up. So they're trying, they're trying to catch up. So they're trying to do too much, and in doing too much, don't come out as great. And if you've seen, Batman versus Superman, Man of Steel, and Suicide Squad, it was a lot of decisiveness in those movies. So
Mhm.
they're already off to a bad start. Then there's a lot of rumors with the Flash movie, a lot of script issues, down to their third director. So I don't know what Warner Brothers is doing right now with their DC franchise, but they're not going off in the right direction, in my opinion.
Do you put this more on Ben Affleck or the actual producers behind the scene as far as him not wanting to be a director right now,
Well,
or at least for this project?
I put it more on WB because what they're trying to do is play catch up to Marvel. Marvel's already established a universe back in 2008, and DC's just now getting theirs off the ground. So they feel like they need to be competing with Marvel. And with
Mhm.
the flop of, I'm gonna consider Batman versus Superman a flop because it didn't even make $1 billion. And I'm gonna consider that a flop in the eyes of Warner Brothers. So they want to
Yeah,
make
that's true.
the
It was a
right
lot. It was a lot
Batman
of hype
movie.
behind it. Yeah, it was a lot of hype behind it.
It was, and for it to be, it really underperformed because
Yeah,
Batman and Superman been the longest going characters that everybody's
yeah.
known from back in the 70s with the Christopher Reeves, and then you had in the 80s you had the what is his name? Val. They had Val Kilmer, and then they had
Hmm.
Michael Keaton, and
Hmm.
it's always been a lore of those characters. And for you not to pull up $1 billion when Disney can drop an animated movie and make $1 billion, and not even sneeze at it, it's crazy. So I think they put too much pressure on Ben, and they put a lot of pressure on him that his movie had to succeed. And then on top of that, him not liking the script. If you're a director and you don't like what the script is brought to you, you're gonna have a problem with that. But Warner Brothers wanted him to work with him, and that wasn't what he was getting down with. And you see, he's gone.
What about that? Do you think he was the right choice to be Batman, or do you think they could have went in a different direction? I mean, I know it's kind of hard to look at right now because he's already made one film and look like he's going to be the Batman going forward. I'm not even sure who could have actually been the replacement at this moment, but from right now, it's looking like it was a bad move.
Yeah, it looked like it's starting to be a bad move. From when I first heard it, it was like before Batman. It was right after Man. Yeah, everybody was like, nobody, because he's known for Daredevil, and not too many people like that movie, and it's always been a bad track record with him. But he really did a great job with the Batman. Me personally, I feel like they should put Batman on the shelf for a while because we just got done with watching 3 movies done by Christopher Nolan, and it's like Christian Bale did a great job as Batman. That not everybody is ready to move on to a new Batman already, because the last movie just came out in 2011, and it's crazy that they're already starting a new Batman. But there's down to the 3rd Spider-Man already in Marvel, but people still like it. But I don't know, man. Sometimes it seems like these movie companies try too hard to be, I guess, it. And they think that, since the new trend is comic book movies, we got to keep pushing them out. Mm-hmm. And when you keep pushing them out that quick, the quality, diminishes, and you don't get a great film that what could have been doesn't always turn out that way. So I feel like the Warner Brothers need to take their time, get their script right, get their actors in place. Me personally, Ben Affleck is a good Batman for right now. From what I've seen, he has room to grow.
I think the best thing you said, they just need to start taking their time. It seems like they always trying to make movies in threes. Like, you don't have to try to pump out as much movies as you need to within a 2 or 3 year stretch. Just take your time. Sometimes those good movies take a while to develop. Just let a movie develop for a while. Let it marinate. They always trying to just throw content out there to make more money, and then you get quality like we did with Batman versus Superman. That's exactly what happens.
Bro, it just seems like we're in a quick fix society that everybody wants. We want the new thing right now. So I guess it's more. I guess there's a lot of pressure on companies. There is none, because think about it. It's like back in the day, we would see a movie, and I feel like it took like a year plus for that movie to come out on DVD. Now it's like the movie come out, and like 3 to 4 months later, it's out on DVD.
Preview in December, coming out in March. Like, damn. Like,
on
DVD in June. Like, damn.
That's what I'm. You have no classics anymore, because if you look at it, 90s had all the classics, because studios only pushed out so many movies, so they made their movies with care, and we really appreciated it. And like what they say, that absence builds more fondness. It's like when we didn't have a movie and we have something to look forward to, we kind of vibe with that more. But these studios keep pushing out so much content, so much stuff for us to choose from. You don't get everybody's viewership. You always don't get everybody's attention. And then you don't put enough creativity in those movies because you're pushing them out too fast. So I don't know what's going to go on in the world, really, because everything seems like everybody wants a quick fix. It seems like there's no original ideas anymore. And, ain't no telling what's going to go on in the future.
No doubt, man. Let's go to the present for a little bit. As a matter of fact, let's take a little rewind to the past. Let's talk about the half man, half amazing Vincent Lamar Carter Jr. He recently turned 40. Well, it was a day after one of those amazing 360 layups that he did, just showing that the old man can still get up there. But, I mean, let's not forget his background. Talking about 1995, he was Mr. Basketball in Florida, All-American in North Carolina, slam dunk champion, 5th pick in the 98 NBA draft. There's only 2 players outside of him that's left in the NBA, and that's Dirk and Paul Pierce. 2000 Olympic winner, probably one of the most famous poster dunks. 8-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, 2-time NBA, All-NBA. I mean, this man has 14 years of averaging 15-plus points, 18 years in double figures, 5th all-time in three-pointers made, 24th on the all-time scoring list. I feel like he flourished his best years as a scorer was in New Jersey, because you just start to see like, oh man, he can score 40 points. Like you didn't see a lot of 40-point games in Toronto. But my question to you, man, At this point in his career, at age 40, what do you make of Vince Carter's career so far?
There's a word that I would equate with Vince Carter, and it's dependable. He's always been dependable throughout his career. From Toronto, his stats start to inflate a little bit because you have the best point guard ever in Jason Kidd that was on the right next to you because he always give him with the nice assists and things like that. So his numbers were already going to elevate. But even when he went to Orlando, when he went to Phoenix for that 1 year, he went to Dallas. He was always dependable, and you can always rely on Vince Carter. That's the thing that I like about him, and that's the thing that I'm going to remember about him in his career. Compared to the other people that was drafted, in his draft class, you have Paul Pierce and Dirk. Those are Hall of Famers. Yeah, Vince Carter is right at that cusp. He's at that cusp. He could he could sneak into the Hall of Fame, or if he doesn't make it to the Hall of Fame, that doesn't diminish his career because he has an incredible career. Averaging as much as 27 one year with the Nets. So those are great stats. Yeah. He's always been dependable, and that's the thing I can say about him. And even in the Memphis team right now, they brought him back because he was dependable for them last season because he kind of flourished last season, if you want to be honest. And he was also a leader in the locker room. He's the type of guy that you would want to go to battle with. You about to go out there, give it your all for somebody that that you line for. That's the kind of character that Vince Carter has always been. And as you said earlier, flashy, man. Vince Carter is flashy, man. I mean, those dunk contests, like he single-handedly destroyed anything we ever saw in the dunk contest.
True.
Because he was so entertaining. He's entertaining. And I always gonna remember, even as his career dwindles down, Mavericks fan. And I remember the playoff series against the Spurs. And he hit that three. Yeah. Yes, and he hit that three to tie. I swear, I said, you know what? Vince Carter is he was always, you can always rely on him on pressure moments. He's the type of person when I need, he was reminding me of Robert Orr. You know what I'm talking about? Even though Robert Orr had the rings and he has the championships.
Teammates he had, though. Vince had those type of teammates.
And he was but Vince Carter was always there when you needed a shot or you needed that person to go in there and get that bucket or get that rebound, get that steal. Vince was there, and it's good to see that he's still out there. But he's gonna be missed when he leaves.
No doubt, man. I just hate that he didn't have the success in the playoffs. It seemed like every team he got to, they was just coming off like a good run, like
a good high. They were high at the right time.
He went to the Nets after the finals appearance. He went to Orlando after they just made the finals. He went to Phoenix on their last leg. He went to Dallas right after
Dallas on their last leg.
Yeah, right after the finals. He got to a Memphis team that's probably that if he would have went there 5 years ago, they would have been a contender. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like everywhere he goes, it's just a little bit too late. But that should also show you that you've never really seen like Vince Carter complain in the media. You never seen him take anything publicly. He was always, to me, one of those like behind the scenes stars. Like he was never too big for the stage. Like you just said, the clutch moments that he had with Dallas. It was a lot of games that I was just amazed watching him in New Jersey. Like I said, I didn't know from Toronto that he could score like this. And it kind of takes me aback because I don't know if it was T-Mac holding him back from putting up those 40-point games in Toronto. I just didn't see it. I always seen him as like a slasher, dunker. I really didn't see the jump shot. Like everything that I seen from Vince Carter just really amazed me that he can even shoot 40% from the 3-point line 4 times in his career. Like you don't imagine that from a guy that's flying from the free throw line, or that he's even 5th all time in made threes. Like where? I haven't seen it. So it just I truly understand why they call him half man, half amazing, because he can do a lot of things, but he's still a human man at the end of the day. And not every amazing person is going to get a ring. So hopefully he can back it up with a Hall of Fame place. I'm saying if T-Mac can just be eligible for it, of course Vince Carter name going to pop up. But Vince Carter definitely got to go in before T-Mac off longevity alone. Because I believe T-Mac was out of the league by 34, 35? And now you got
man, but on skill. But on skill. That's the only reason why they were kind of push T-Mac into the Hall of Fame, because T-Mac had skill. If T-Mac was healthy, you talking about LeBron James. T-Mac was LeBron James before LeBron James knew me. T-Mac was that amazing because he could pull up and you could never block his shot. Good point guard handles and court vision. Then his defense, you couldn't sneeze at his defense, but it was always those back issues. I don't know. Sometimes he wasn't mentally in the game always that held T-Mac back. But Vince Carter, I always say it, if Vince Carter, I know they're cousins, if Vince Carter and T-Mac kind of combined, morph together, like if you remember back on Dragon Ball Z, you know, you had the two kids that morphed together into one being. If they did that, I swear they'd be like the greatest player ever, because if you had the dependability of Vince Carter and the skills of T-Mac, that'd be a dangerous person. But I like how you was talking about with Vince Carter, amazing he was, and the way he kind of elevated his game, and you never knew that he was a scorer like that until he got New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And he was the type of player, like you have your Gerald Greens, or you have your what's the kid up there in Milwaukee? Man, I can't think of his name right now.
Greek Freak or Jabari
the guy
Parker?
With the he reminds me of Jabari Parker reminds me of Vince Carter. That's a guy who's going to develop their game, and they come as surprise you. You think they come with one thing and they start developing something else, and you just look up and say, like Blake Griffin. It's just like I look up one day and it's like, when'd you become such a good jump shooter? You were so trash like when you first came in. These are guys that are developing their game. That's why I like those players. That's why I was mentioning earlier, like Gerald Green, a few other players who are just catering to one specific thing as being a slasher or a dunker. You can develop your game and you can get better, but and still have the dunks, the flashy dunks and things of that nature like Vince Carter. But a lot of these people, they don't want to develop their game. It's too easy for them. The money is too easy. But Vince Carter was the type of guy that I would like to have on my team, because I knew he was going to be the first one in the gym, the first one out the gym, always developing his skill. And I didn't have to worry about him on the court.
No doubt.
Some of these players you have to worry about.
I'm just going to ask you a quick question right quick. All right, you got T-Mac, you got Vince Carter, both 25 years of age. You know for sure that by the time T-Mac turns 30, he's going to start diminishing. But you know for sure you're going to have Vince Carter till he's 40. So you got 10 years or 15 years. You're going to get a higher level of play from T-Mac, but which player would you take?
I'm going to take Vince, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I can have a few other good stars around Vince and win. Like you had Jason Kidd and you had Richard Jefferson. Those were a good three enough to take you to the finals. Yeah. All you need is a couple of more pieces. With
honestly,
T-Mac,
what hurt them was when Kenyon Martin had left too. I'm not saying they would have been contended, but that would have been
toughness they lost.
That would have been a
that's
strong
that Draymond.
Yeah, I like that.
Kenyon Martin was like that Draymond Green that left their team that they needed. He's like that Ben Wallace or those tough ride, like we talked about before in one of our other podcasts, that those are those type of Rough Rider players, and Kenyon Martin was one of those Rough Rider players. And I personally,
what hurt him is not being around like the Jason Kidds and the Vince Carters and going to hang around the J.R. Smiths and the Mellos. Like that's kind of what hurt Kenyon Martin.
And he started getting tied up and started doing the most. Yeah, Kenyon Martin was really good. If you really think about it and you really look at how productive he was with the Nets, he was really good. His couple of years in Denver, he was nice too, but you could see he started slipping a little bit. With Vince Carter, the thing I would have taken him over Tracy McGrady, even with the Rockets. Think about this. If the Rockets remember when the Rockets ran on that run in 2009, and they did this without T-Mac, and they did this without Yao. Picture if they had Vince Carter in the game. We might have beat that Lakers team that we took to 7.
Yeah, because we had Von Wafer and Ron Artest was the leading scorers. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like how many? If you had Vince Carter on your team, and if you were like the Nets could have kept him. What if the Heat, would have went after him? After the whole thing when they started fizzling off. If the Mavericks had them before, they got Sean Marion, just picture how many championships they could have. They probably wouldn't have lost in 2007. It's a lot of Vince Carter was a type player that everybody look at after his career and say, man, I should have had him on my team. He probably the piece that I needed.
No doubt. I can definitely agree with that, bro.
That's why
All
I
right,
would take that over T-Mac.
all right. Well, let's move on from those two All-Stars and talk about the All-Stars that have been selected. The reserves have been named. On the West End, you got Westbrook, DeMarcus Cousins, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, DeAndre Jordan, Mark Gasol, and Gordon Hayward. We was pretty close, man, on that West. We was only a few names off. And then on the East side, you got Isaiah Thomas, Kemba Walker, Paul George, Kyle Lowry, Paul Millsap, John Wall, and Kevin Love. That got to be the one I probably disagree with the most. I don't.
What, the Kevin Love one?
Either your boy Drake Drummond should have got in, or my boy Joel Embiid should have got in over Kevin Love. I don't think he deserves it.
Man, they really ain't been showing Embiid some love. Like they want to say the minute restriction is holding back, but I'm just like, he's still been playing a consistent amount of games. Like he can't. I'm pretty sure the games that they rest him, I'm pretty sure he can get out there and play. But they know the value they have in him, so they purposely sit him to save him from himself. But I'm pretty sure that he could be out there the whole season and really be dominated. But they want to have that precaution with him.
Yeah,
and, they want to take it easy on him. And Kevin Love, if you honestly, Kevin Love does not deserve to be an all-star because there's no reason you should be an all-star and you score. What, he scored 3 points like a couple of nights ago? Yeah. Like I don't need you. I don't need you being an all-star, representing the all-stars in the East. And I don't understand what coach voted for him to be an all-star. He was.
What coach is voted for?
Yeah, but he was good in the beginning of the season, and then he kind of faltered off some. But I personally think there are better players, scattered in the East that could have got in over him. And there's one dude I want to talk about right now. We debated about John Wall when we were doing our reserves. John Wall has been balling of late. Everybody better watch out for the Wizards because they're clicking at the right time. Scott Brooks has them playing superb basketball right now.
No doubt. No. I mean, like I said, it wasn't really a debate. Like I say, I've apologized, I believe, 3 times. This will be my 3rd time about John Wall. But I just don't feel like when it comes down to winning playoff basketball, you're gonna need more than a distributing point guard. He got to be able to score a little bit. Like, yeah, he can get to the rack, but that's because he has an open lane against, let's say, the Sixers or the Hornets. He's not going to have no open lane in the playoffs against a Toronto or Boston, a Cleveland team that's actually set to lock down that paint. They're going to force you to shoot. You know what I mean? That's probably my only gripe with him. But like I say, every point guard can't shoot. I understand it. He's having a hell of a season. Player of the month of December. So right now he is the reigning player of the month until further notice. And I'll give him that respect. He was actually, I believe, the first reserve name, but I'll still to this day, I'll take Isaiah Thomas over him. I'll take Kyrie. I'll take Kemba. I'll take Kyle Lowry. It's so many guards I'll take over John Wall because they can do a little bit more offensively. But I know from a playmaking standpoint, John Wall can get you there from playmaking. But I don't think you can build around John Wall. I honestly don't.
I see what you say. I see. He reminds me of a Ben Gordon, like how Ben Gordon was back in the day. Exactly. Like he could put up numbers, but I couldn't always depend on you to.
You can't always depend on him.
I guess for the ball when I need you.
That's a perfect. He's exactly that. He's the Ben Gordon of now. He's a little bit better than Ben Gordon from a playmaking aspect because Ben Gordon could score a little bit, but he really couldn't distribute. You never seen Ben Gordon with like 15, 19 assists. He probably had like a good 7, 8 on a good day. But Ben Gordon wasn't really putting the ball out there. But I just don't see nobody wanting to go to Washington to play with John Wall. And that's why I think they had to overpay for Bradley Beal. That's why I think they're going to have to overpay for Otto Porter. But look at all the stars that – I'm not going to say stars, but they lost Paul Pierce. They lost Trevor Ariza. They lost Nene. Nobody wants to stay there. And then on top of that, they're not getting people to come there. So it's something going on. You know what I mean? Like it's something that the NBA is seeing in his game to it. Man, I don't know if we can go all the way with John Wall. It's something that they're saying.
Okay, I'm looking at John Wall. I think doesn't he have in his contract coming up in the next couple of years or something like that. And everybody it was all this hoopla about how are they going to play Bradley Beal all that money, and then they got to pay John Wall. But I think John Wall he's a good point guard. I don't think he's a great I can't put up here with some of the greats in the league right now. And I would like to see him with some better pieces around him that can kind of elevate his game some. I would love to see John Wall to go play with Anthony Davis or John Wall to play with with Harrison Barnes, somebody like that.
Yeah.
Because only reason why I say that is because I feel like another great player or another better player could elevate his game. Him and Bradley Beal,
they don't.
Him and Bradley Beal basically play the same position and they can intertwine. Honestly, if you want to be honest, it was just like Bradley Beal I don't understand why Bradley Beal stayed because I feel like he should have left and went somewhere else.
Well, I think he's restricted, bro. I think he's restricted. So
he is because man, you see, have you been watching? Okay, so if you've been watching the Wizards of lately, both of them have really been playing great. But if you watch John Wall, I feel like they contain him a little bit more.
Yes.
Then I would like him. Like if you watch the Blazers with CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, they're a good backcourt, but man, it feels like CJ McCollum can be score way more points than he is right now. And it's just they kind of cap their game off. That's why I'd rather see John Wall with a good center or a good power forward. That's why I'm saying he will be good if he played with Anthony Davis or with Dirk in his last few years. That's what I'm saying, that I feel like he would complement better with those teams than running with Bill, as this 1-2 punch that everybody thinks is going to work.
No, I completely agree with you, but when I completely just look at everything, I honestly feel like from the bottom of my heart, it's easier to build around Michael Conley than it is to build around John Wall. And Mike Conley is not half as talented as John Wall.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it could be, maybe immaturity. I don't know. John Wall it looks like he's kind of immature.
Because even Mike Conley at Ohio State, so he had Greg Monroe. They went to the championship game against a tough Florida team. But I feel like I'd have more confidence in a point guard like that, the stature of Mike Conley, who's taking the blows, who's been underrated. I feel like he should have made the All-Star team this year also. But I just feel like it's completely easier.
Robbery.
Yeah,
that was robbery. He didn't, man, and I think he's been playing pissed off that he didn't get the All-Star because he's been balling it lately. He's been really draining them threes. And that's the thing. And that's what you want to see in a player that just got paid. You know what I'm saying? I don't think if John Wall would have got that type of money, he would have been playing on Mike Conley level. Like I said, it's not fair to say they two different players. Conley got a little bit more range. John Wall's more like an athletic finisher / slasher. So it's two different games, but I feel like from a confidence, playmaking, and leadership standpoint, that Mike Conley is way more mature than John Wall, and I'll be able to build with a Mike Conley. You can put pieces around Mike Conley, and that team can be dangerous. But let's hop over. Hold on, let me ask you a question real quick. See, this is the thing. I'm glad we having this dialogue because it's making me think a little bit. The way you're talking about these point guards, they're like in two dimensions, and I'm gonna tell you why. Like how we say we have our slasher kind of score, but you kind of can't. Like John Wall, Westbrook. Let me see, who else would I throw in there? I would kind of put Devin Booker. What's his name? Devin Booker with the Suns.
Eric Bledsoe.
No, I'll put Bledsoe in there, but I'm talking Booker, the backup dude.
Booker can shoot a little bit though. He got a little range on him.
But
I know what you mean.
They all remind me of they play the point, but I can see them playing better as the two. But
or the off ball position.
I see, or something like that. Or you have your traditional, you have your Chris Paul, your Mike Conley, your Isaiah Thomas, your Kyle Lowry. They seem like those are two type of more natural. You have your traditional. You have your traditional and you have your new age point guard. John Wall and Westbrook and all them remind me of the new age point guard that wants that always can be out of control at times and doesn't have the greatest control in court vision. So that's why I kind of split them up into, and that's I'm glad we were having this dialogue because it makes me think about whose game John Wall reminds me of, and I'm thinking of Westbrook and those more erratic point guards instead of the dependent.
Just to take it to a couple years ago, Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague was all-star. But look at him now. Like you can't build around Jeff Teague.
Oh yeah, you're right. Like Jeff Teague would be on that list of Westbrook.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Jeff
Schroeder will be in there too. Schroeder will be on that list too.
Yeah, so Jeff Teague kind of reminds me of John Wall. Like, yeah, he's going to be an all-star. Yeah, the team's going to win because I believe that Atlanta team had won a franchise best like 60-plus games, but they let him go. You know what I mean? You can't build around him. Yes, you can win games. Washington is winning games, but you can't truly build a team around John Wall, just like you couldn't build a team around Jeff T. But going to the West, our boy Rudy Gobert should have made it, but I'm still glad that Gordon Hayward made it. You called that one also. I was surprised about DeAndre Jordan, but he is doing a lot for that team, and he don't got a lot of help around him. I mean, it seemed like all the stars are falling around him, so you really can't blame him for not making it. I thought they would have showed Karl Anthony Towns a little bit of love, but he only in his second year. He got at least 10 more All-Star games he's gonna be a part of down the road. But I like the West team. It's not a lot of debate I can have. I think all the Golden State Warriors deserve to make it. I think Marc Gasol having a hell of a year. And I'm just glad that at least Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies was able to represent the West, because those are two of the best teams in the Western Conference. You know, they don't have the star power like a San Antonio or a Golden State or a Cleveland in the East, but they're consistent teams, and they're going to challenge you day in and day out, not only on the defensive end, but they actually getting their offense together too, especially Memphis.
I was shocked when they announced on DeAndre Jordan. I'm gonna tell you why. I looked up his stats. Like, he's having a really decent year, but there's nothing about his game that screams all-star. His name kind of screams like dependable, a good center like Capella, or he reminds me of Marcus Camby. Like, I didn't understand, like, Marcus Camby didn't scream out all-star, but he was a good center. He kind of, Zaza Pachulia. Let me see. What's his name that the Warriors just got rid of? Andrew Bogut. Yeah. Those are just good, dependable centers, but they don't stand out. I feel like if you're an all-star, you have to stand out, and you have to stand out of your position. Yeah, DeAndre Jordan is flashy with his dunks or maybe a nice couple of blocks, but he's not the type of center that screams that he can really score. Like, if there was nobody good around him, I can't see him scoring 25 points and 15 rebounds and like 4 blocks. I can't see that out of him. So I wouldn't have put him up there. If they didn't have Gordon, if Gordon Hayward got hurt, Rudy Gobert could easily average 23 and maybe 12 and 3 blocks. I can see that. But the person that I wanted to get there is Mike Conley. Mike Conley deserved to be in there. He's having a hell of a season. We gave out his stats earlier. He's averaging over 17 points a game. He's averaging over 6 assists a game. These are consistent numbers. And the drop-off, he's having an increase over his last year, and he just got paid. So you're going to be the highest paid player in the NBA. I think that, you should make the All-Star at least.
I also feel like his numbers are a little bit deflated because Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph run a lot of ISO in the post.
Exactly.
So he's not getting those like easy pick and roll bats because they're not as agile to be off the pick and roll. You see James Harden do that with Clint Capella and Harold because those are young legs. They're not going up there to dunk these balls like that. So if he had like a Stromile Swift in Memphis like they had back then, he could be averaging like 9 or 10 assists off dunks alone. But
you said it's Swift. Oh, dang, I forgot about Swift with the Rockets.
I'm just trying to make like a little Memphis comparison. Just somebody, one of those Darrell Arthur, like one of those athletic power forwards that can get in there, get you a couple dunks, easy assists. He don't have that type of player. Zach Randolph want to get on the block. Marc Gasol want to get on the block. Marc Gasol may even pull up a couple times. So he's missing out on at least, I want to say 3 to 4 assists on his average because they go to the block.
And you forgot something else. Chandler Parsons hasn't even been playing. Picture if Chandler Parsons was healthy and he's out on the floor with Mike Conley and them stretching that floor. Mike Conley could easily go into the paint, dish it out to Parsons. They're your threes. But guess what? Memphis hasn't been shooting great from 3-point range, so a lot of his assists are getting eliminated. And as you say, a lot of Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol go a lot of ISO, or they give him to him in a high pick and roll and out there and shoots the 3 sometimes.
He stands and he don't drive it in a lot. You battle.
If you watch a Memphis game, everybody says a Memphis game is really boring. If you really watch a Memphis game, it's really good basketball and it's really entertaining because I just watched him the other night and I was like, dang, Mike Conley was really having a phenomenal game. And I think it's this gray cloud over the Memphis organization. Everybody equates boring and not superstar. I mean, superstar or all-star, but you can be an all-star and be on a traditional, just regular, like a Spurs team. Like Tony Parker was, if you watch the game, Tony Parker was amazing back in the day. Same with Ginobili, same with Duncan. But, you know, that's honestly, does the Memphis Grizzlies remind you of San Antonio Light?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They're like the off-brand version of Spurs.
I mean, look at the way they used to, like, they were so pesky in those Spurs series. It seemed like Memphis was actually favorites whenever they played the Spurs, and they beat them, I think, either once or twice in play. I know at least once. Memphis beat them.
They swept them that one year. I remember that.
Yeah, so they always had their number because it's that slow style that San Antonio, they like to play. But if you got bigger bigs and more athletic bigs, that's when San Antonio struggled. Because Marc Gasol, he's still good now. He's still an all-star. But about 3 years ago, oh, my goodness, he was a monster. And I really didn't. Yeah, I really didn't see that kind of play coming from him. Like, no doubt, man. Like, he really was good. But, you know, it's a lot of things I like about this Memphis team, but let's just play Memphis GM for a while. You know, we just talking about Chandler Parsons. What would be the smartest thing for you to do? Because, you know, as with Memphis, you're not going to get over a 4 seed. Let's be honest. You may get a 4 seed, but you're not going to get over that. And it seems like they keep trying to rush Chandler back. If you was the GM or just coach in charge or anything, would you kind of shut him down like until like April or maybe late March? Just let him rest up and like get completely healthy, or do you think it's smart for them to keep trying to get him out there to get that team chemistry going? Because it's still a lot of games left in the season.
They said that last night. They were talking about that. They're saying that Chandler Parsons has been increasing his minutes week by week, trying to get more acclimated into the system, because you don't want to rest him, as you say, and then come in playoff times, you just throw him out there and he messes the chemistry up that's been flowing so well for Memphis, which is allowing them to be in a top 5 team of the West. You know, they've been winning without Chandler Parsons. So whatever's working is working right now. You don't want to mess it up. So you want to ease him back. This the other day, I was watching the game and they were talking about Chandler Parsons. And I'm just thinking to myself, because you remember that Chandler Parsons and CJ McCollum had this back and forth about, you know, the money, him hitting the lottery and stuff like that. It was funny. And I was thinking to myself, Chandler Parsons makes more than Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. What if they had Jimmy Butler instead of Chandler Parsons? Memphis would probably be the most dangerous team in the league, in my opinion, because they would have defense, they would finally have scoring, and then they would also have the two big men down low that you can go to and bang it out with everybody. They would really be a scary team. And the thing I don't like about Memphis is they didn't go after Jimmy Butler, because I feel like Mike Conley, I think Marc Gasol, Bickerstaff I feel like they all could have talked to. They could have really recruited Jimmy Butler.
You still could have kept Tony Allen at 2, and then you just moved Jimmy to 3. Oh yeah, that would have been.
You could have upsold him. That would have been really dangerous. Or you could have had Gordon Hayward would be nice with them, or that would have really been nice. I like Gordon Hayward, man. There's something about Gordon. He's so good, and I just feel like the Jazz are really good. And, you know, so it's a small market team. There's not a lot of chatter about them. But when they get televised games and you watch him play, he's like a white DeRozan.
Yeah.
If you honestly watch him, he's like a white DeRozan, because all his game is mid-range. Yeah. And that's the thing that's better than – that's why I was just about to say. That's why I like him more than DeRozan, because he can get hot for 3. But all his game is usually in the mid-range. But, man, Memphis is one step from winning a title. They just that Parsons. Man, I wish they didn't get Parsons.
Yeah, it starts with the bigs, and they already got Harrison Barnes.
If they got Harrison Barnes over Parsons, I think that would have been a nice piece, because Harrison Barnes,
they're paying them the same. It's about the same problem.
Hey, let me tell you something. I know we're going long on this one.
No,
Harrison Barnes is quietly having
a damn good season.
He's having a most improved. I have him as my most improved now all of a sudden, because he's averaging just like 23, 22 points a game. But the thing about him is he's getting eased into the system. Like at first he was playing, he didn't get so many buckets. He was like, he shot like maybe 10 or 12. Now he's like 17, 18, 19. He's getting, more 22. And if you watched him yesterday against the Cavs, bro, did you watch him against the Cavs? He dominated that game. I said, damn, Harrison Barnes is good.
But think about the situation he came from. He was like the fourth option in Golden State. You know what I mean? So it's not like he can just leave Golden State. Oh, I'm the man now. Let me take these 23 shots. You still got Dirk. I'm sure he still got a lot of respect. I think he did it the right way. If you want to be completely honest, as far as graduating from new guy to leading scorer, like he gradually did it. Like you can see the improvement in his game over the months as he feels more comfortable in Dallas. And I feel like the players like Dirk, Wesley Matthews, Darren Williams, they starting to take a back seat and just giving him the reins of the ship. And that's exactly how you're supposed to develop a superstar. Because you can't just throw him out there and tell him to take all the shots and be a superstar. That's what we did down here in Houston with James Harden. Unfortunately, it worked out. But everybody's not going to be as good as a player that's up for debate for the MVP in 2 of the last 3 seasons. It's going to take a little bit of time for a player like Harrison Barnes to get acclimated with taking all the shots on a particular team, especially, I'm not going to say a bad team, but a team that don't have the success that they're accustomed to in the Dallas Mavericks. But I think they're doing a hell of a job with his improvement in the game. That's 2 impressive victories that he got under his belt. I'm not going to say his belt, but that team got under their belt. And he had a lot to do with both of those victories.
Yeah, man. That Cavs victory was no one's talking about this. No one's talking about this. But let's talk about this. The Cavs have lost to the Western teams. They lost to the Suns, the Kings, the Mavericks, and the Pelicans. The reason why I'm going with this is those 4. All 4 of those teams are in the bottom half of the West. Picture if the Cavs had to face one of those top Western teams. I'm telling you, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for the Cavs. They better watch out.
Man, for real. You know, man, let's move on to the next subject that we got at hand. I want to know which one of these players can you see leaving their team the soonest. I'm pretty sure I know your answer. But out of D-Wade, Jimmy Butler, and Carmelo Anthony, which of these players do you expect not to be with their team at the end of the year?
Man, honestly, Melo, because New York is trying. They want pennies for Melo. I don't know I don't understand. Melo carries enough name value and enough, I want to say, star power that you can get more than J.J. Redick and Jamal Crawford for it. I don't know what Phil Jackson's doing, but Melo's out the door. D-Wade, I don't see D-Wade leaving this season. Now, all season he may go, but I don't think he's leaving because no one's taking that contract to D-Wade. He's getting like paid what, $24 million or something like that this year, or $20 million,
like 22, somewhere in there.
That's too much. That's too much. Nobody wants that. Now, Jimmy Butler, very interesting. If the Bulls want to make a little splash and build and not have to do a complete overhaul of their team, and Jimmy Butler carries enough name value, enough talent, and enough game tape that I'm pretty sure a lot of teams wouldn't mind, unloading some of their already, quote unquote, B team players to get this A player. So I personally think, like we said earlier, Memphis, I would love if Memphis can if they can somehow get rid of Chandler Parsons, and I think Brandon Wright is still in their team. He's been injured. If they can get rid of him and they can get Jimmy Butler, or man, I would love if, honestly, the Clippers, if they can make a move and try to get Jimmy Butler, I feel like Jimmy Butler would be very beneficial for their organization. Like, if they can, honestly, I would give up Blake Griffin to get Jimmy Butler. That's just me. But I think more teams are going to try to make a run for Jimmy Butler, and I hope he goes somewhere and he goes somewhere he likes.
All right, let me lay out 2 potential moves that can happen. Let me know which one you feel is the best and which move could lead that team. Let's not say the NBA Finals, but at least the conference finals. Let's say if Carmelo was to go to the Clippers and Jimmy Butler was to go to the Celtics. Which deal do you like better, and which team will have more success?
The Celtics. I'm gonna tell you why the Celtics, because who's leaving the Clippers? Blake Griffin?
Well, if they was to do the Clippers deal, they said they don't want nobody. They just want some B team talent.
Oh man, maybe the Clippers, but it's black. It's a black.
Sure if that Celtics deal would now, I think they'd probably be giving up like a couple picks, maybe Bradley Beal. What's the young rookie that they just drafted? I'm sure they're gonna have to come off a little bit of talent because they are in the same conference.
Yep. Well, I'll go with the Celtics. Bradley Beal hasn't been playing. Celtics still been rolling. Isaiah's still been balling. Jimmy Butler can score. And guess what? The Celtics defense is what they're known for. All they need is more offense, and Jimmy Butler gives you that and defense. So it's a win-win situation. I can see the Celtics easily beating the Raptors, the Wizards, who else? Anybody else in the West? East. I can see them beating the Hornets, all of them. I can see them going toe-to-toe with the Cavs, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Al Horford is gonna outplay Tristan Thompson, in my opinion. Jimmy Butler is gonna play good defense on LeBron James, and he can score. Isaiah Thomas is going to be a headache for Kyrie Irving, and I think Crowder is going to give them enough that they can make some noise. So I would go with the Celtics.
Oh, no doubt. Don't get me wrong. I like that pick, but when I just look at everything, first off, it's Doc Rivers we're talking about, and he was able to get KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce on the same page, so he know what it comes to do to acclimate his stars. I believe Doc Rivers made his son into a better player, if you want to be completely honest. Mm-hmm. I think he gave JJ Redick that defined role that he'd been looking for his entire NBA career. I think that he developed DeAndre Jordan to what he is today, and that's an NBA All-Star. And I think he had something to do with Blake Griffin expanding his game. So you've seen progress in all those players from the Clippers. And if you don't got to give up a lot, and you're able to keep the Jamal Crawfords, the Austin Rivers, the Paul Pierces on that team, and you bring in the Carmelo, which is going to be a second scorer, and you just get him to make some type of commitment. It won't work without a commitment to defense from Carmelo Anthony. He can't just go out there and try to throw up 26 shots and hope he can score 15 to 20 points. It's not going to work like that in this system, because you've seen – those players in Boston made a sacrifice to win that championship. It took a lot out of them emotionally. So if Melo wants to make it work, he's going to have to make a lot of sacrifices to his basketball game as on the offensive end and put more effort on the defensive end. And I think they could at least get to the Western Conference Finals, at least. But it would take a lot. It wouldn't be as easy as Boston. It wouldn't be as easy as Boston, because that will make Boston a legit top 2 team, and they are already a top 3 team. So they're right.
Exactly. That was my argument. But the Clippers, they still would be good because you have Chris Paul. They probably would have to give a Redick and Jamal Crawford. So let's go ahead and axe them off the team. So let's go ahead. You got Chris Paul. You'll have whoever they're gonna run into. You'll have Melo. You have Blake Griffin, and then you'll have. DeAndre Gordon. So yeah, you have a great starting 5, but the thing is,
the depth
away so much offense.
Yeah, he does.
And the Clippers don't lack in offense; they lack in just playing consistent. And Melo's not known for being consistent always. Like Melo can get cold real easy, and he can get hot real easy. So it all's going to depend on that. And then Chris Paul, he's coming back from a hand issue or something like that. So I don't know how that would work, but when healthy, they could be a legit contender. Yeah, if they got Melo before the season, I think they would have been.
Because they started like 16-5, right? They started like 16-5.
Exactly.
They was damn good before all the injuries hit.
Yeah, so Melo would make the Clippers nice, but the Clippers are the type of team that would find some way to fucking lose. And Melo is known to be what? Finding some type of way to lose. So you added a player that's going. That's sad. They're sad, but always knows how to lose. That's what I'm like. It's sad. It's like they're a perfect match, but they would both mess each other up because they know something. Maybe opposites. I don't know. Maybe they'll repel each other, and something positive will come out of it. I don't know. So it would be a good pickup. I want to see Melo go to the Celtics. Honestly, like him or Jimmy Butler. I'll take either one of them going to the Celtics because I feel like the Celtics just need another consistent scorer because they can get cold real easily. Because Isaiah Thomas, you can't rely on him to take 26 shots a game. And another scorer relieving that pressure off of him, letting him make it up on the defensive end, and he can distribute the ball nicely. I think the Celtics need that or try to make that move. They have enough draft picks, to give up.
Yeah, you're not lying at all. All right, no doubt, man. That's...
Hold on. Shock the world. What if Melo goes to the Sixers, man? What if he went to the Sixers?
Get that 8
I don't want to laugh about that, but if Melo went there and they got like a legit point guard, the Sixers would be a contender.
Hey, they point guard coming. Well, I ain't gonna say point guard, but he's gonna be doing a lot of the playmaking. Ben Simmons. I'm talking Ben Simmons. Once he get back, I think he's gonna.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Ben Simmons. I forgot he's coming back. So you're gonna have Ben, but think about this: you'll have Ben Simmons, you'll have Melo, you'll have Embiid, and then you have Okafor. You know, you can throw him in there. You can roll Embiid in by the four. Hey, I would like that team. It'll be a hard team to stop because I feel like if you could sell Melo and Ben Simmons on defense, and you say, you know, we really need to work on defense, and you know, you holding your man, and you know, we have Okafor and Embiid in the paint, I feel like they could really be a dangerous team.
5 games outside of playoff position. Can you see the Sixers making, or are they just a year too soon?
Year too soon. They like the Raiders of last year. You know how the Raiders were last year? Mm-hmm. And you was like, oh, next year that team is going to be – Sixers is going to be dangerous because I personally – the Sixers need a – you know, they got Ben Simmons, but they need another 2 guard. I would love for them to make a splash and try to go for a good 2 guard. I know it stands out at the moment, but another 2 guard to play opposite of Ben Simmons would be really nice because Ben Simmons is all about, you know, he playmaking, you know, he's kind of a showboater, but you need another 2 guard that can kind of tone you down, or a point, or a 2 guard that can kind of play the point sometimes, and Ben Simmons kind of run the 2. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Just have him playing a little bit more often. Yeah, you need more of a natural point guard. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's what they need. They needed somebody who's really can distribute, like saying pressure moments. I don't want to rely on Ben Simmons. I want to rely on another veteran point guard that can control the game and slow it down and give it to my big, or I can dish it out to Simmons and he can try to hit a jumper or play a little bit of ISO ball, or somebody who's going to slow the tempo down. I think that would be nice. I think Sixers really gonna be good next year.
No doubt, bro. All right, man. Let's just get into a little bit of NFL news. We ain't gotta talk too much about it. I just wanted to talk about the number 1 overall pick, or former number overall pick, 2-time All-American, NFL All-Pro, who anchored the number 1 defense in the NFL. Behind his 6 sacks, 16 tackles for a loss, and an interception in the Texans' 3rd playoff victory in franchise history. But let's talk about the bad for a while. You know, a torn meniscus cost him his rookie year. Foot injury and knee recovery ended his 2nd season early. And wrist and elbow injuries cost him 2 games this year, and he now has another procedure done on his other knee. Does this bring any type of concern to you, or do you think it's just going to be another cleanup procedure? Because we clearly know that the effects of playing defensive end in the 3-4 is taking a toll on his body. But how do you feel about Jadeveon Clowney long term?
There's no telling with these players because he can, you know, this could be, like you said, a cleanup surgery. He can come back, you know, being back to his dominant self, or he can be how he's been over his first couple of years, you know, in and out the lineup, you know, going through reps. So it's like you take the good. He reminds me of Derrick Rose. The talent's there. You honestly see the talent, but for some reason, injury follows this person. And Jadeveon Clowney seems like the type of player, because he's so big and he's so tall, you know, he has a lot, you know, that's a lot of weight on the knees. And I don't think he has the greatest of knees. So a lot of that on him, he's gonna come with that injury, you know, with that, you know, him being that big stocky kind of dude. So it's kind of, you gotta take the good with the bad. If we can get him healthy, the Texans could have one of the most dangerous defenses going into next year. You know, J.J. Watt coming back, but I have my reservations on how good he's going to be, you know, with that back surgery. So I personally don't like that we made that pick. I'm going to be honest with you. Looking back, I still think we should have went quarterback. You know, everybody says Derek Carr, you know, he didn't. No one thought Derek Carr was going to be as good as Derek Carr is being, or, you know, Teddy Bridgewater, or, you know, like Blake Bortles. Everybody loves to talk down Blake Bortles, but I just honestly think Blake Bortles has the talent. And he showed it at the end of last season. You know, he played with poise, he played with better pocket vision, and then he also can run with the ball. He's like everybody wants to compare him to Big Ben, and you can't not compare him. But I feel like he could be as good, if not better than Big Ben, with the right toolage, you know, the right coaching. And I feel like Bill O'Brien could have done amazing things with him if we grabbed him instead of Clowney. But you know, it is what it is. We deal with it. I feel like Clowney's may come back healthy, but you never know. He's like Romo. You never know.
No doubt, my man. The grease is hot right now. But man, you know, I understand what you mean about taking the quarterback in the draft. We should have went out and got Garoppolo maybe in the third instead of letting him drop down and get snagged up by the Patriots.
I didn't think Garoppolo was that good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people didn't know, and that was actually one of the favors that we had that scouting on in the offseason for the Texans. And he should have, like I said, he should have been the third round pick, but they felt like tight end was a little bit more important. But luckily, CJ Fedorus did develop into one of those top 10 tight ends, but still, you missed out on your quarterback. That even if you wanted to go get him right now, it may cost you a first or second round pick when you could have got him in the third, and maybe CJ still would have been there in the fourth, or you could have got somebody else, you know. And I'm not saying you just pick a tight end off the street and make him into whatever CJ Fedorus was this year, whether you want to call him Pro Bowl caliber tight end, but you can get production out of some of these college tight ends that come from a basketball program. So
exactly,
even
break.
Yeah, you
can win a breakout season. He was not undrafted.
Yeah, you can even look at Steven Anderson, who we found this year out of UCLA, who was Jared Goff's buddy. That's probably one of the reasons that he got drafted first overall, just passing to his tight end. But I understand the frustration about not getting the quarterback, and yes, it did set you back even further in a franchise that's never had a quarterback. But at the same time, they have the worst of luck when it comes to being sorry didn't having the first round pick. I mean, we talk about David Carr, and I think he was stuck between David Carr, well, who was it, Eli and Michael Vick in between those 2 years. And then you go further down the road with Mario Williams, and you probably could have had Alex Smith, or you could have took a flyer on Aaron Rodgers. Even before that, you got Andrew Luck. And then after that, it was Jameis Winston. So it's like we always stuck in between, like good quarterbacks going around our draft, but we just never can get the one that we need. So it's like we bad at the wrong times. That's crazy to say, but
you're right. We are bad at the wrong times, man. We don't scout good enough.
Exactly. So I mean, I like the talent that he's bringing, but this is a concern, man. I mean, we've seen 3 straight years. He's had some type of surgery, 3 consecutive years. And going forward, J.J. Watt's not going to be the same. Who can we really name that's been the same after back surgery in any sport? Even shit, look at Tiger Woods, and everybody think golf is easy as hell. Tiger Woods is struggling.
He's struggling. And if you watch him, honestly, golf is boring to some, but I enjoy golf. If you watch him, he's struggling.
Yeah.
It's back problems with it. Look at, I'm pretty sure Tracy McGrady is somewhere, and he heard us, and he will tell you that back problems will destroy your career.
Yeah, a lot of players will tell you that. Gronkowski may tell you that also. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know how he's gonna come back.
Yeah, these back issues, like, and I compare J.J. Watt and Gronkowski as being that same type of player. You know, they kind of built the same. They play different positions, but physically, I think they are built the same. And you seen this year, Gronk got a full Jack's arm this year. At first, we thought it was bad, but he got his entire arm covered up. It looked like in a leg brace. And if J.J. Watt got to come out in something like that, he's not going to last that long on the defensive side, because you can move Gronk around to where he ain't got to go up against these defensive ends and linebackers coming at him. Sometimes he may be lined up against a safety that weigh 210 pounds. So he may have a free release. He may not. They may jam him. They may not. But people are trying to hurt JJ every time he come off the line. So
people trying to hurt Gronk.
Yeah, they hurt Gronk already. And then you got people also trying to take out Clowney. So it's 2 injuries along. Then you also got to put in Brian Cushing. But that means it's 3 players that could get hurt and change their entire complex of the season, and it shouldn't be that way. But
the thing about it, with the Texans, Clowney went to the wrong team, and I'll tell you why. There's too much pressure on him. There's too much. He has to play too many minutes, being on the Texans defense, with the quarterback situation. I swear, I wish the Texans waited. I wish we would have kept Brian Hoyer another year. People, talk their trash, for turnovers and the fumble and all that good stuff in the playoffs. But sometimes you just have a bad day. And I feel like Brian Hoyer did enough. We should have kept him another year. And we should have saw what happens in the college football and also in the NFL. Tyrod Taylor may free up. Picture us giving the money to Tyrod Taylor and what he can do in our offense. True. Tyrod has a good arm, a deep throw. So Hopkins, Will Fuller, perfect. Then he can throw out the backfield. Look what he did with LaShawn McCoy. So him and Lamar Miller running that too. You never know if Tyrod's going to run. You never know if Lamar Miller's going to run. That would ease it off. And they would eat so much time off the clock. Guess what? Clowney could be out there less time and more efficient. But now he has to be on there throughout the whole season. He was always out there all the time, putting more pressure on him. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you, Texans, it's like we can't get a good thing going. We can't. It's like either the defense is good and the offense sucks, or either the defense is struggling and the offense is good. Because even when we had Matt Schaub, when Matt Schaub was balling, our defense wasn't always the greatest. Then when our defense started good, Schaub fall off. Then when our defense get up, then we had Brian Hoyer and all that. It's just like we can never get on the same page. Once the Texans finally get on the same page and the pressure is off some of these players, I feel like we could be a dangerous team. But it starts with the GM, and I'm going to leave it there.
Hey, and that's where we're going to leave it today, man. That was a good little conversation we just had. A lot of NBA talk, man. We're going to have to get on our power rankings pretty soon, but we probably wait till after the All-Star break. Mm-hmm. Just see how the team's going to end at the All-Star break. Matter of fact, we can do it All-Star weekend. The week of All-Star weekend when they have a little break, we can see who's coming in hot and everything. So we will be getting those NBA power rankings out to you soon. We will be talking about Brady versus Belichick later on in the week, and probably a little bit more preview toward the Super Bowl, even though we did probably 2 shows about it so far. Mm-hmm. But no doubt. But as for now, this has been Fish and Grits, and you guys have just been served.
Remember, check us out at Facebook and also on Instagram and Twitter. Go back to the old podcast. We will tag a link in the bottom of these videos and let you know where you can find us. So y'all take it easy out there.
No doubt.